Okay, so before we get too much into the actual rules on rounding, just remember, if it is a math problem that involves multiplication or division, you're looking for significant digits. If it is addition or subtraction type question, you're looking for the correct number of decimal places. Okay, so we've done our math question, and let's say it was a multiplication question. So we're looking to round to that last significant digit. So if that number, we always look past the significant digit, so the next following number. And if the next following number when we're going to round is between 0 and 4, basically we are going to leave that number the same. So here's an example. We did our calculation and our answer ended up to be 17.3482 kilograms. And I wanted to round to only 3 significant digits. So here's my 3 significant digits. So I'd have to look to that number just past it, and that's a 4. So in this case, 4 is between 0 and 4, so we are going to leave our number the same. So our number would actually be 17.3. That's what we'd report. Now, let's say our number, a different number, if we're greater than 4, or if we're actually greater than 5, we're going to add one number to that last significant digit. So again, it needs the same number, but this time we're going to round to 4 digits. So here's the 4 significant digits, and if we look to that number past it, it's an 8. So that number follows that rule, greater than 5. And if it's greater than 5, we have to add 1 to that last unit. So instead of 17.34, the answer would be 17.35 because we would have rounded 1 up. Okay, there's one last rule for rounding, and that's if the number is exactly a 5. So let's say we have a number and it's exactly a 5, then there's 2 different ways to handle it. The first way is if the last significant digit is an even number. And in that case, you leave it alone. So we have 3.25, and we only needed 2 significant digits. So that would be the 3.2. When we look to the left, it's exactly a 5, and that's the case I'm talking about. So we have to look at that last significant digit. In this case, it is a 2, so we're going to leave it at 3.2. We wouldn't round it up to 3.3. Okay, so we would leave it at 3.2. Now, the second option is if our answer had an odd number as that last significant digit. So here's an example. Again, we only want to round it to 2 digits, so 4.5 would be our 2 significant digits. But in this case, that number to the left is a 5. Okay, and in this case, 5 is an uneven number. So if we left it alone, 4.5, we would end up with an uneven number. We just don't like that in science. So we would go up to 4.6. So we have to raise it to the next nearest even significant digit. So the answer for this rounded correctly is 4.6. Okay, so let's do a couple of examples. We'll start with a multiplication division question. Remember, for multiplication division, it's at least number of significant digits in your final answer. So that's what we're gonna be looking for. So let's say we started with maybe a speed question. Speed is equal to distance and time. This might be something we do actually in physics. So speed is equal to distance over time. Now, we have to fill this in. We have to do our math. So 302 meters divided by 15 seconds. Now, when we do this math, we are going to get the answer 20.13333 repeated. Now, remember, least number of significant digits because it's math, multiplication or division. Now, if we look at our 2 numbers that we start with, the distance, 302 meters, this has 3 significant digits. We look at time, 15, there's only 2 significant digits. So that means our answer cannot be any more precise than 2 significant digits. So let's look at our answer, 20.11333, or sorry, 20.13333. Two significant digits would be just the 20. And we're going to look to that number to the left, and it's a 1. So in case less than 5, we leave it alone. So we would report our final answer as 20 meters per second. So there we have done the math, and we've rounded to the correct number of significant digits. Now notice I did put a decimal place in here, so I know that this 20 is exactly the two significant digits that I want. The other way you could represent that is by writing it in scientific notation as 2.0 times 10 to the 1 meters per second. So either like this with a decimal place or 2.0, because I know anything as a coefficient is a significant value. Okay, let's do another example. This time we're going to do an addition or subtraction question. Now remember, for addition and subtraction, we're not looking for the least number of significant digits, we're looking for the least number of decimal places. So let's say we weighed 3 things in a lab. Maybe we had a beaker, it weighed 55 grams. Maybe we had some water in the beaker and it weighed 13.2 grams. And maybe we put a rock in there or something to measure and it was 3.33 grams. So let's say we were looking for that total mass and we had to add up all these values. So 55 plus 13.2 plus 3.33. So when we do add that, we get 70.53. Now again, we can't be as precise as we can only be as precise as our least precise value. And in that case, we are looking at decimal places because it was addition. If we look at our first answer, 55, how many decimal places does it have? Well, it has no decimal places. Here we have 1 decimal place, and here we have 2 decimal places. So the fact that our least number of decimal places is 0 means that I cannot have any decimal places here. So in this case, I'm going to round it to, I have to look at my numbers, and this is a 5. So 5, it's actually 53. It's not exactly a 5. There's something else there, so we're going to round up. So without any decimal places, my final answer would be 71 grams. Okay? So key things to remember when rounding: if it's a multiplication or division question, it is significant digits that you're going to round with, least number. If it's addition or subtraction, it's just decimal places, least number of decimal places in your final answer. Another good thing to note, when you are rounding, do not round at every point, okay? What that means is don't round all your answers as you go. You want to just round once at the end. Okay, so if it's a multi-step question, make sure you are only rounding the final answer. Okay, and again, make sure if it's an addition or subtraction question, you're rounding for correct decimal places. If it's multiplication or division, it's the significant digits.